The Morning Majority on 630.
WMAL. 8:07 on The Morning Majority. Brian Neiman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham here, and we have our friend John Fund on the phone.
Or we have a business thing.
I spoke too soon.
Oh.
Well, he's a very busy man.
That was good transition. I like that was quick.
Because New York 9, he was there at the headquarters last night when Bob Turner pulled off the amazing victory. But the latest from the Democrat, the head of the DNC, our favorite, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she tells us that...
here's the quote of the day.
It's okay. Here's the spin. New York 9, very difficult district for Democrats.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I believe I read somewhere this morning that it was like the 20s the last time they lost that seat.
Well, we can ask John about it. John Fund, you there?
Yes, I am. Thanks, Mary Catherine.
Hey, good morning. So, Debbie Wasserman Schultz tells us this morning that New York 9 is a very, quote-unquote, very difficult district for Democrats. How much does this win for Bob Turner matter?
Well, first of all, a difficult district for Democrats. Let's see, the last time a Republican won was 1920. Chuck Schumer used to represent this district. Geraldine Ferraro, the vice presidential candidate in 1984, represented the district. Doesn't sound that difficult to me.
I can't believe Debbie would lie to me.
How much does this matter? Well, the Hill newspaper today is reporting and quoting a Democratic strategist saying he is now telling his clients, don't run in 2012. I don't want my candidates going down because of Obama's weakness by 10 or 12 points.
Are you kidding me?
Running with futility. That's in the Hill newspaper today.
Wow, that's astonishing.
Well, and on the issues front, what worked for Bob Turner and maybe on the flip side, what didn't work for Democrats? Some people are noting that Metascare maybe was not as effective as they would have hoped it would have been.
Well, I think if it resonated with any voters, it was trumped by jobs.
Right.
I think I was in the district yesterday. Jobs were very important. People are upset that unemployment is so high and they don't think another stimulus package is going to work. Remember, this election took place after the president had a joint session of Congress speech. So obviously it didn't fall on very receptive ears. Secondly, I think Israel was important. 37% of the district told pollsters Israel was a very important issue. Lastly, I've been in Washington. People just generally dissatisfied with how things are going in Washington. And also, I think same-sex marriage. Remember, it was only 2 or 3 months ago that New York ran through a gay marriage bill under very controversial procedural grounds, and the Democratic candidate had backed it, and even though he expressed concerns about how the bill was ran through, thought some rules had been bent or broken. And I think that the Orthodox Jewish community and the Catholic community also responded to that issue.
How do you think Democrats are going to respond to this? Because, I mean, if you woke up this morning and a Democrat and you had any hope at all about the 2012 cycle, that hope has been sort of, if not shattered, at least rattled.
Well, I think it puts into question whether Barack Obama is really the candidate Democrats want to run with in 2012. Look,
are you suggesting that somebody might challenge him?
No. You can't challenge him because a third of the primary vote is cast by African Americans. Right. And if someone challenged Obama seriously, there'd be a civil war in the Democratic Party. What I think is somebody's going to try an LBJ scenario. Somebody's going to try to go to him the way leading Democrats went to LBJ in 1968 and say, you know, Mr. President, you've always said that you'd be willing to be a one-term president. Maybe you want to actually go through with that.
Wow.
Who would be the person that could actually do that, to tell the president or ask the president to not run again on the Democratic side?
I think it would be a committee of people, and I think it would only happen 2 or 3 months from now if the unemployment rate is still bad, if the economy is still bad, and if the president's poll numbers are still bad. Also, remember, right now the Republicans have a 7-point generic lead for the congressional races. At that point, you could see the Democrats lose a dozen Senate seats. A dozen.
But I mean, if
they can lose New York City, they can lose anywhere.
I think that's a very interesting scenario, one I hadn't thought about. But I mean, do you really think that you could wait 3 months and then ask him to do that? I mean, could you gin up then a competitive campaign to go against the Republican nominee?
Well, there is a tanned, rested, and ready candidate lying in the wings, just waiting, and she has a built-in campaign organization that she used in 2008. It wouldn't take her much to get up and run, do you think?
It would have to be Hillary, right? I mean, there's no other person that could possibly run for the Democrats in 2012.
The sound you're hearing in Democratic circles today is all the buyer's remorse about why in the world they nominated Barack Obama in 2008.
Because he had change we could believe in.
Well, guess what? The change was the Democratic Party could slip into permanent minority status. That's the change he seems to be delivering.
All right. Well, then, for you, John, the way it sounds to you is then this race is the Republicans to lose in 2012. So can they lose it? Can they screw it up?
No. Tell me the unemployment rate, and I'll tell you whether or not the Republicans could lose this. At 9%, it's difficult for a party holding the White House to win with that kind of record. Remember, no president has ever been reelected since modern polling began in the 1930s if unemployment was over 7.2%.
John, I wonder just sort of how it felt at headquarters last night. That seems like one of, aside from maybe Scott Brown's victory in Massachusetts, one of the places you'd least expect to be at a victory party, and yet it happened.
Well, let's see. You had Ed Koch, the former Democratic mayor of New York,
right,
haranguing the crowds against Obama. You had the local Democratic assemblyman saying that we have to stop all of Obama's programs.
Jeez.
You had more rabbis than I've ever seen in a Republican gathering. I talked to a Filipino-American broker who had been volunteering for Bob Turner. I talked to a black guy who runs HipHopRepublican.com, and he was there. It was a rather diverse, jovial crowd.
Who is Bob Turner? I mean, did Bob Turner win because he was a good candidate, or did he solely win because of the policies of Barack Obama and people were just wanted to go a different route?
Bob Turner is a guy who came up from nowhere. He grew up in the Irish slums of New York City. He was the first man in his family to ever graduate from high school, but he went on to found a successful television empire. He was the man who brought Rush Limbaugh to television. He was the man who worked with Roger Ailes on that Rush Limbaugh show. He had many successful shows, including a great documentary on the Bible. And he's retired. He's 70 years old, but he decided to join the Tea Party. And last night, the Tea Party vaunted him into history and fame. And he's an average guy who cares about his country. He just happens to have the media savvy to have pulled this off.
John, fascinating stuff. Thanks for your time. As always, we appreciate it.
Thank you.